Alright, so I've been waiting for this for a while, and I'm sure a lot of other people are. This is the PAL lever from General Leather Craft Pioneer belts. When I saw it, I noticed that it looked real good quality. Now it does have a clear coat on it. You can see the shimmer of it. And I've noticed that it looks like it may not last the clear on it, because I'm starting to notice that it's starting to chip, scratch in places of contact. So that's one thing to consider. But it's made out of a die cast, possibly nickel in it as well. I mean, die cast is usually zinc and aluminum. This is non-magnetic, so I'm assuming that's that. The finish makes it look nickel, whether it's nickel plated or nickel in the die cast. It's possible, I'm not sure, but that clear coat does give it a nice sheen. Now this is one of the old levers I had. It's a die cast. I don't think it has nickel in there by the color of it. It doesn't have a clear coat or anything. It's just natural finish. When I first got it, it was shiny, and then the finish after time kind of had some tarnishing in it. This one is held up pretty well, but some people have it where these little tabs break off. And it looks like, for one thing, I was kind of worried on if these were cast in, they would break easy, but it looks like they're pins pressed in, so that should be strong, and you shouldn't have to worry about them breaking off, because it looks like they go through the full length in there. So these aren't cast pins right here, so these won't have a problem with breakage issues that I foresee. And this is my belt I got from them quite a while. It's got some miles and abuse on it, but it's one of the best belts I've had. Super stiff. Real stiff, which I like. It's cracked my ribs once, I think. I'm happy this came today, right before I get a swap. I just ate, so I'm going to give my stomach a little bit of time to settle. But when I checked the FedEx thing, it said before 8 p.m., but I was hoping to come sooner, so when I got back from work today, it was at my doorstep, so I picked it up, and now I'll get to assemble it. So I got to take out my old belt lever. And figure out the size where I need to adjust it at. Obviously, this one has 2 holes, and then the belt has holes going along this side, and then holes here, so not too hard to figure out which side goes where. It's just I gotta play around with it to figure out my size adjustments. So, and let's see, this way would have to point here to lock, so you can see that how it goes in this way. On my belt here, these are kind of slightly bigger than these, by the way the tongue groove of the old lever goes in. And these just look like zinc plated screws, and pretty thick, not very long. And I believe this is made of some nickel steel, which makes it stronger and should make it not corrode or anything, but let's hope she fits. A little pressing in there, it works. This doesn't matter which orientation really is, as long as you get the curve to go around your belt right. Set all the screws in before tightening them down too far. That way it lines up right and never want to cross thread. Now it looks like this puts the lever about like opposite from, okay, now it doesn't. Same way, kind of as before. So you'll be latching it on the same side you normally do. And if you want it the other side, just flip it the belt upside down. You don't have to change the levers or anything. But I just got my name on here. I put on the inside, so nobody steal it, because I've had 2 of my belts stolen before. They were Enzers, so not so bad, but yeah, I'd hate to see this one go. It's got my name on it, so it'd be hard for somebody to use it and not realize it's mine. So we gotta figure out about the place here. Got the approximate place, so I'll try this out, see how it feels, and then maybe adjust it if I need to. One thing about the old levers, on most belts, the Enzers not so much, but if you just, this latches on the 2 holes here before, but if you can, just use it on one of the holes, so you got maybe an inch difference. So if you don't want to want your belt a little looser at times without having to move your buckle, that was one way I was doing it. So on like a heavy set, I get it like real tight, and my other sets that I don't want so tight. But with these old style levers, you did have some adjustment. They didn't work too well on the way the Enzer belts were, because I have to show you on my other Enzer belt here in a second, but the way the holes to the belt, the whole distance here didn't quite work well. I can't remember, like Cardillo or Vest belts and stuff did, because they had similar lever belts. Make sure this is quite lined up. Maybe I need to loosen that one because the holes aren't lining up perfectly, but still enough where I can able to adjust it in, I think, and get them started. There we go. Sure that's right. Don't want to cross thread. Okay, it's just going on the leather. The holes are kind of tight where the leather is cut out, so I don't know if you can see here. So just doesn't quite fit perfect, but once I tighten it down, it should work. That's weird. Huh. Wonder why it's like that. The holes don't quite line up for that plate perfectly. It's kind of nice, these screws are Phillips, so you don't have to use a flat all the time, but you can still use a flat when you need it. These are flat only. Okay, that's not going in perfectly. Try loosening it up more. See if the angle's off. So I'm just taking it off, double checking it. Messed up the thread a little bit. Okay, let's go in. Okay, so the screws, if you can see them here, are both at an angle. Let's try again. I remember what place it was at again. All right, trying a little better view so you can see what I'm dealing with here. At least a closer up view, whether or not it gets the show zone. It's just that angle coming in, trying to hold it at the same time back here. But trying to line up the holes just right. But it's like you gotta maybe set them in at an angle when you start them. Okay, that one's going in okay. And then trying this one here. I need more hands. The other belt's a little easier to get on. There we go. These are going in a lot better, but if you look how close the screws are to that thing, the backer plate probably just need to be tightened down quite a bit, but it's lined up now. I had to put them in an angle, but here's the kind of sticking up. Maybe they should have chamfered that a little more with some slots, but once I tighten them down, it seems to be going okay. I just have to crank them down so they sit somewhat flush. Loosen this one up a little bit. It's like the curve doesn't quite match it, so probably won't feel that, but it's about as flush as you can get them. But they stick up just a hair, which isn't too bad, really. All right. That's pretty tight. All right. Let's see if this goes on. Not too bad. See how tightest. Yeah. All right. Try it out and see if it has any issues with popping out while I'm doing squats. I don't think it would, but guess you never know. Seems to lock in pretty well. It's nice, you can have a lot more range now with this without adjusting it. All right, now to show you what I was talking about on this is my Inzer belt here. So you have this lever here now. You do the standard where you put both fours here in a lock, but on some other belts, you can just take these top tabs here and just latch them to here. But it doesn't work for Inzers because if you see this in here, they started these holes out, these group of holes too far this way, and belts like the Pioneer and Best belts, and I can't remember what other ones, but there's a few of them that have the leather belts. Maybe Titan, I don't know for Titan for sure because I haven't used theirs, but these are in just enough where that pin here sits back behind there, so it'll latch. But as you can see here, it doesn't quite clear that, so you can't lock it in. So that's what I was doing to my Pioneer belt, where I wanted it tight, I'd go here. I wanted it looser, I'd go here. But I mean, these aren't bad belts, but I just like the Pioneer. It seems like it's made out of better materials, and I was able to custom order mine real stiff on it, and it just gives me a lot more support. Just the weight of this, you can tell, is a bit heavier than my other belt because it's a serious belt. It's still pretty stiff. One more thing, one of the reasons why I didn't like the SPD belt too much, the buckle was just so big and so heavy. This one here obviously it is bigger than the other one, as you can kind of see here. So size wise, it's a little bigger, little thicker, longer, and it has this extra piece that weighs them down, but it's really not too bad. Just looking at it right now, we'll find out if I don't think it'll get in the way when I'm squatting or anything like that, but I didn't like the SPD one because just the buckles seem so big and clunky. This one's not so bad, so I like that. And I just noticed putting it on here at that finish, you can kind of see a little flaking right in here. So after use, I'd imagine this clear coat's going to come off, whatever, depending upon how much you beat it on it. And my belt seems to get beat on quite a bit, and just the chalk and everything, and try not to throw it. Because last time I dropped one of my belts, and that tab popped out, broke off the lever. So I think I've had 2 break maybe in my lifetime. Alright, so I'll give it a squat workout and see how well it does. Okay, just got done with my squat workout and I definitely liked it. Lever worked great. Of course, it didn't pop off or anything. But being able to adjust that to a 1/2 inch, or what, I was able to dial right in where I wanted the tightness of it. So felt pretty good on squats. Ended up going a little heavier than I did last week, so made a little progress in my squats when they've been stalling lately, but glad they're moving somewhat. But yeah, this belt lever is pretty great. Definitely recommend it. I really like the lever belts. I'm not too a fan of the prong belts. I just can't get them as tight and locked in like I do the lever belt, because the lever belt to me just supports me a lot better, so I tend to stick with these. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone.